let's get to work. Any questions? No questions so far, it seems. So we've got a very simple file here. English, French, German. Let me add my mother tongue, Hungarian. This first one I could not translate, but let's call it nincs again. And then I'm going to put in some others as well. Okay. So let me save this file now. You can see that this is a fairly simple one. Now let's also do a bit of cosmetics here. Let's add comment. Or this one. And we can also add the context. Something like this. So let's save this file now and let's start working. I am starting memoQ. This is pretty obvious that you need to do that. And this is a PM edition. So this is Project Manager's edition. And this is 6.2.15. If you have anything older than this, then you need to upgrade to 15, because this was only added now. And then let's click Create a New Project. Now, I am taking English as the source language, German as the target language. Just like normally I can add project IDs, whatever. Instead of moving forward, I'm going to click Finish. Why is that? Because I want to add the other two languages, French and Hungarian, into this document. So I go to Overview, click Add New Target Language, add multiple languages, and take Hungarian is here, French is there. What you see is that the target language selector appears. Now this is not there in the Translator Pro edition. So in the Translator Pro edition, if you selected an English to German project, then that will leave the French and the Hungarian intact. Next thing I need to do is select the all languages mode, because otherwise I'm only importing the two languages, so source and target, and click Import with Options. If you want to import the delimited file, you always have to click Import with Options. And this is on my desktop. And what you see is that originally it is Microsoft Excel filter. So you have to always select multilingual delimited text filter. And you can see that all three languages appear here. This is important. Now we can click on Change Filter and Configuration to have an idea on what we can configure. But first of all, memoQ has correctly identified that we're talking about an Excel filter. And in the case of an Excel filter, you can talk about a simple bilingual configuration or a more complicated configuration with the columns tab as well. Now, the first thing you can do is exclude certain cells on background color. I will be honest with you, and it's 6.2.15, this doesn't work, but I hope it's going to be fixed for the next build. Basically, if you have a different background color, then you can click on here. Let's say this will be a different background color, and click Add Colors of Selection. And then click Finish, and the memoQ can identify the background color. You can also have multiple background colors, and these would be excluded. You can also exclude, obviously, the hidden rows from Excel, because Excel has hidden rows. And then you can come to the columns and click whether the first row contains the column names. Now it does, because this was like English, Hungarian, German, French, context, and so on. What's the source language? In our case, this is English. And what to do with the translated text, whether we should import anything that's already there for the other languages, and if so, how, or whether we should not import it. If you make it confirmed and logged, then this is something that you can exclude, for example, directly from the word count. So this is the big benefit. Otherwise, it imports as edited, and then you can go on. You know that in Excel, you can have multiple sheets. So it is possible to define the meaning of the columns for multiple sheets. In this example, we only have one sheet. Now, while there is first row contains column names, here you still have to remember what is in each and every column. This is not the case in the CSV files, because unfortunately in Excel, we're not able to read into the file. So how was it? English, French, German, Hungarian, comment, context. So let's configure them. English is the source text. That's fine. The next one is French, which we want to import as the translation of the English, column A. If you have multiple columns with source text, you can have multiple columns and the translations can belong to each of those columns. So this is French. Fine. Let's move on. The next one is also a translation, this time for German. So I select translation for column A, and I select German here. The next one is also a translation for a change for Hungarian. Again, column A, because there is only one source text. If I, for example, let's say, make a change here and turn this into also a source text, then if I look for a translation, I can also see. So all the source texts appear here. But this is not a source text, so I'm going to put this back into translation German. And then column D was the translation for A into Hungarian. And it was either comment and context or context and comment. Let me just double check it again. Comment and context. So the next one is going to be a comment. And which column should this comment reflect? Well, whether for all columns in this text or column A, this only makes difference if there are multiple source text fields. So this is fine just for column A. If there are multiple source text fields, so that there is source text in A, in F, in whatever, then this is going to be a comment for all those columns. So this is going to be comment for A. And then finally, we're going to import a context as well. This is going to be context for the source text. If you are familiar with Excel filter or the XML filter, you could have the context attributed to certain segments. And that means if the same source text is found in conjunction with the same text in the context cell, then you're going to get a 101% match. If the same segment is found with a different content in the context cell, that's going to be a 100% match. You can also decide on each and every segment what you want to see in the preview. So if you, for example, don't speak Hungarian and you don't want to see it, but still import it, then you can disable this from the preview. There is one more thing that I didn't show you, and that's the condition. The condition means do not import a certain column if one of the following values are included there. And these values can be separated by commas and can also be written into quotation marks. What's the next thing to do? The next thing we need to do is make sure that we're also able to process HTML. Now, this is a bilingual filter, so you don't have the full range of cascading filters like you had for monolingual filters. So it's the same family like xlif files or sdlxlif or ttx files, and in that the only cascading filter that you can use is the regex tagger, but don't worry too much. There is the tags and entities filter configuration. If you select this, that's going to be pretty much the same as HTML codes. So just leave this. I mean, you can see these things here. And now that we are done, of course, we can also save this as a new filter configuration. So like this, locally or remotely. If you want to have a simple bilingual configuration, that's easier, because then you just, this is bilingual, so it only processes 2 languages. So you can have source, you enter that this is in A, translation is in B, comment is in E, and context is in F. And whether you want to import the target text or not. So it's just a simplification to what we have done before. All right, so these are the configuration options for Excel. And now let's have a look at what memoQ generates out of it. As you can see, we've got 727 segments for 3 languages. So here's the German. Oops. This probably has to do with the layout. It does. Sorry about this. So what you can see here is that all the texts have been imported, and here the comment has also been imported, and you can also see the other languages in the preview. Now, this is a typical test scenario, typical webinar scenario when you are trying to show something and obviously something goes wrong. I have never seen this error in this case. So let's try to close the German, and maybe we are luckier with the French. No, we aren't. And I suppose we won't be luckier with the Hungarian either. So what you see here is basically the text. But wait a second, certain things were not tagged up. Now obviously, also here, you can use the regex tagger, and you can save this as a configuration. So how do we tag this %D? Well, if I'm not wrong, then what we need to enter is simply %D and keep it like that. Yes, that's correct. And then what else do we have? %S as well. Let's add that as well. And we've got the \n. Now with backslash, we need to have it escaped like this. There you go. Let me just go through the text. You can see in the preview what has been tagged up. Looks okay to me. Now, obviously, I cannot guarantee that this is all that needs to be tagged up. Maybe we should tag up also this %sign, and so on. And if you want, you can, of course, save this as a filter configuration and add it for further use into the normal filter configuration tags and entities. So you can also clone that if you like. Now you can see that this has been tagged up, so you're good to go. Now let's try and maybe just quit memoQ, and let's try the typical Windows way, whether starting again helps. It seems so. At least you can see certain things here. Okay, fine. Now the translation results are fine. So what you're seeing is all the text coming up. So instead of translating the French, which I don't really speak, I would go into my Hungarian, and you can see that this was included, so I can add it. Of course, I didn't add a translation memory to the project yet. So what I need to do is create a new translation memory. And go back into the translation. And continue like this. If there is a translation, I can also change that, obviously, and I still see the comment here as well. I didn't import the comment specifically, but you can see also the ID is appearing. So here, for example, in OK, in the preview itself, you are able to see that the ID here is UI, and that can already help you in your translation. Now, what happens here? Is that you can export directly from here. So if you export from the Hungarian, of course the bilingual export and everything else works. If you export from here using a dialog, into the desktop, you see that Hungarian will be added. And you can see all the translations here. But if you instead export in all languages, you can also do so with export dialog. You can export all the individual files at once. And if you click on export stored path, then you are able to see all the changes in a single file. So these are the main ideas behind the multilingual Excel filter. And I think I have shown the capabilities of this filter now.